The lipids are one of the biological substances named as biomolecules. These lipids have a special characteristic that differs them from the other biomolecules, and is that they are not soluble in water. According to their size and special arrangement of the atoms, can be classified in four main groups. Waxes are found in the beeswax and honey. Steroids are found in onions, nuts, and olives. Triglycerides can be found in processed meats such as sausages. Phospholipids are stored in butter, egg, and milk. Lipid metabolism begins in the intestine, where ingested lipids are broken down into smaller chain fatty acids by pancreatic lipases. When food reaches the small intestine, a digestive hormone called CCK or cholecystokinin is released by the intestinal cells in intestinal mucosa. These enzymes stimulates the release of pancreatic lipase and the contraction of the gallbladder to release stored bile salts into the intestine. Together, the pancreatic lipases and bile salts break down the lipids into free fatty acids. These fatty acids can be transported across the intestinal membrane. However, once they cross the membrane, they are recombined to again form the original lipid molecule. Within the intestinal cell, these lipids are packaged along with cholesterol molecules in the phospholipid vesicles called chylomicrons. The chylomicrons label fats and cholesterol to move within the aqueous environment of your lymphatic and circulatory systems. Once in circulation, they can either go to the liver or be stored in fat cells to store the energy. The lack or excessive of lipids can cause several diseases. Lack of lipids. Essential fatty acid deficiency, AGE, most often occurs in children fed lipid-poor diets. Mental instability. The lack of lipids can cause in certain cases mental issues, causing extreme confusion and bipolarity. Excessive of lipids. Gaucher disease is caused by a deficiency of the enzyme glucosylobridase that controls the level of lipids absorbed by the body, so you store more lipids than the body needs. We have three main enzymes in the lipid metabolism: the phosphodiesterase (ENPP), the carboxyletterase (CES). These are produced by the liver to break down and then help to join again the lipid molecules once in the liver or in the fat cells. And we have the cholecystokinin, the CCK, that helps to produce the pancreatic lipases and the bile salts to break down the fatty chains in the small intestine.
Proteins are natural polymers made of amino acids linked together in a specific way. They can be found in plant and animal-based foods. For example, animal-based foods are meat, minced beef, for example, it has around 20 grams of protein, chicken breast, salmon, fish. These ones also have around 20 to 30 grams of protein. Some essential functions in the body of the proteins are digestive enzymes help facilitate chemical reactions, antibody support in the regulation and expression of DNA and RNA, support muscle contraction and movement, provide support to the body. Metabolism. Protein is used for growth and repair, like we saw. All these necessary functions, proteins also hold the potential to serve as a metabolic fuel source. Proteins are not stored for later use, so excess proteins must be converted into glucose or triglycerides and used to supply energy or build energy reserves. Protein metabolism is a chemical cycle of breakdown protein, catabolism, and using the components to synthesize anabolism, new molecules to use in the body. Enzymes involved in the digestion of proteins. Pepsin is an active protein digestive system. When it reacts with a protein molecule, it breaks the peptide bonds, getting chains of amino acids called polypeptides. After that, the polypeptides goes to the small intestine where the pancreatic enzymes trypsin, chymotrypsin and carboxypeptidase, which then break down the polypeptides and the peptides into amino acids. In excess, we can have diseases like weight gain. High consumption of red meat is associated with some types of cancer. Protein deficiency can cause muscle loss, and also we have infections. And the immune system works better with protein intakes. With a deficiency, this will impair the immune system and your body will not be able to defend against infections.
Also known as carbs, they are compounds that contain multiple hydroxyl groups formed by an atom of oxygen and hydrogen, as well as a carbonyl functional group of carbon monoxide. These molecules tend to vary in size from single monomers to polymers made of hundreds or even thousands of monomer units. The main ones are to provide energy, to store energy, to build macromolecules and spare protein and fat for other uses. There are three main types of carbohydrates. The first one, and the most common, is the monosaccharides. Monosaccharides are divided mainly into three. The first one is glucose, which is found in the blood. Then we have galactose and fructose, which is found in fruits. Sucrose, which is most known as table sugar, and it is formed by mixing glucose and fructose. And the second one is lactose, which we have polysaccharides, which are the most complex carbohydrates, and they are polymers of simple sugars that contain around 12 or even more monomer units. We can find them mainly in three forms. The first one is starch, animals to store energy mostly in the liver and muscles. Carbohydrate metabolism begins in the mouth, where the enzyme salivary amylase begins to break down complex sugars into monosaccharides, which later are transported through the intestinal membrane into the bloodstream and then to body tissues. In the cells, glucose is processed through several reactions into smaller sugars, and the energy stored inside the molecule is released. If we lack carbohydrates are hypoglycemia, which is the low blood glucose, and it occurs when the glucose levels in the blood drop.